Okay. Okay.
Okay. Everybody ready? All right, calling to order the Tuesday, July 5th, 2022 Bethel Board of Education work session to order. It's 5:31 p.m. When you're ready to call the roll, Mrs. Hayden, please call the roll.
Mrs. Mansfield,
Here.
Mrs. Sebastian,
Here.
Mr. Elam,
Here.
Mrs. Donahue,
Here.
Mrs. Franz.
Here. Wonderful. Welcome, everyone. Does anyone have any additions to the agenda for this evening?
No.
Okay. Hearing none. Hearing of the public regarding agenda items. I didn't receive any slips. Did you receive any, Ms. Hagman? Anyone else? Have any? Okay. Share the screen. Let's share. See, you always do this, so. Okay. Important dates of the district will be the next to go. Makes sense, so the green button share, it is already open. This one, that's fine. Just have to get to, share.
Here we go.
Yep. Important dates to know, so our calendar dates coming up. I know for sure that we have band camp coming up pretty soon. We'll have our board meeting next Monday, of course. Band camp's coming up the 18th to the 20th from 8 to noon, and then the 25th to the 29th for the non-rookies from 8 to 5. Safety Town, always an exciting time for the little ones. Does anyone know anything of the details on registration for Safety Town? Is that closed already? Anyone heard? Well, yeah, I know. I think it might be closed, but maybe there's some spots. We'll try and find out for Monday and verify that. And then we'll move on to next week's meetings, or next month's meetings, of course, but then the hog roast is back. Hoorah, hoorah, the Bethel hog roast is August 6th, always a good time there. The best part about that I know, or that I love, a lot of people are in it for the fireworks, but I'm in it for the introduction of all the athletic teams for the fall season. They'll be on parade and get to see teams all year, so.
Free food's a plus.
Free food is a plus, that's for sure. It's free, it's for me, right?
They do accept donations.
Absolutely. Put on by the athletic boosters, right? Yes. Wonderful event all the way around, but yeah, it's always great to see the kids come out as teams and welcome to the seasons. Anything else to be added to the communication list? Anyone see anything missing or needs corrected?
We need to change the date of the August board meeting. It should be August 8th. Unless we want to come something like that.
Oh, okay. Should we do the meeting?
You know, can correct that or something.
That somebody would be right now. Hopefully by then there will be a somebody. So. There's also a facilities meeting that day as well. So
Yes. Yes.
facilities. Are we meeting facilities at 6:30?
At 5:30, we're going to.
Not in August though, right?
It's in July. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. That's
So August 8th, are we meeting at 6 or 6:30?
That's the question.
whatever we pick will be wrong.
Let's call it 6.
Okay. Wonderful. Anything further on dates? All right, then we move on to item 5, treasurer's items. These are treasurer's items requesting board action this evening. Mrs. Hagan.
The first item is our property, fleet, and liability coverage. We need to have that in place effective July 1. Couple of new things or different things that happened. We didn't get the proposals until the end of the month in June, so they missed our earlier board meetings. We have to, or I'm recommending that the board purchase cyber insurance outside the consortium costs. So that's going to be a bigger price tag than we're used to. It went up from $639 a year to $14,275. So These have to be in effect for July 1, so I just need the board's approval.
Is there a motion for this item, please, to accept the contract with the Ohio School Plan for the property and casualty insurance and the separate cyber insurance policy?
I'll move.
Mr. Elam, thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Donahue. Okay, discussion?
I was looking at it and decided to defer to you with all your insurance background. No. You, Mrs. Mansfield.
Mrs. Mansfield, oof, hearkening back to a prior career, awesome. Okay, I accept that. So I will say property casualty insurance rates, the liability casualty rates, that makes sense, the increase there. The cyber industry, we've all heard a lot about, needs to cover people whenever there are losses, right? So if there's identity theft, which has been very common lately, there are coverages that now exist to cover you should there be identity theft based on a liability loss or a cyber loss that takes place, for your place of business. So that's a coverage that we currently are running bare on. And that coverage is fairly expensive. It has traditionally been very expensive, and it's only gotten more so lately with the increased ability of people to get into your systems and take that information and open you up and make you bear. The additional cost that we're have here is also based on a deductible, right?
Right.
So prior coverage that we had, which was almost no coverage in the first place, also had an incredibly high deductible of about $250,000. This one has about 100,000, I think.
150.
150,000. Okay. So our deductible is a reasonable deductible should there be a loss, I think, but additionally, the coverage is actually there to cover us should there be a cyber theft situation. So that's what I know about the coverage and what I've read in there. I don't do anything to add to the statement, what you know from our.
Well, I know that there have been some attacks on school districts where they come in and they hold your data, ransom, and so in some of those cases, those districts, won't pay the ransom, of course, but they still end up incurring cost well above $350,000 just to provide identity theft monitoring, and things of that nature. So depending upon the size of the district. So as these crimes seem to increase, I've already spoken to Jason Cook, Mr. Cook in technology, and we're looking at ways is there an assessment that needs to be done, and where are we vulnerable, and in what ways can we protect our data and our employees, and what do we need to do to put those kind of practices in place so we can reduce our cost in insurance in the future. So I know Mr. Cook and Mr. Hutnick have been working on that, and we're hoping to have some assessments done probably in the 22-23 school year.
So we've never had cyber insurance before, is that correct?
No, we've had cyber insurance before. It's been usually grouped in with your liability coverage, and it's usually a very low premium, $600 and some change. But it's not been a whole lot of coverage because nobody really thinks that a school district is going to be attacked, but we're actually more vulnerable than most places. I hate to say that out loud. And usually from the trainings that I have attended, they will get you on a holiday weekend. They'll do things where they know staff aren't there. And so we just want to make sure that we have some protection in place.
And I like that coverage more to like when you have your home insured and they'll throw in a little bit of coverage for jewelry, or they'll throw in a little coverage for, little things like that. It's more like that included coverage. It's not true actual coverage for the true risk that exists. So, when cyber really became a thing about, I don't know, I'd say probably around 2005, 2006, it really started to ramp up and be an actual line of coverage.
So this is like getting a rider for your jewelry, furs, coins, and
It's
so
a lot
forth.
more like that. You can kind of think of it like that, yeah. Where this will be a more standalone cyber policy, more like an umbrella policy might be, or more like having an audit policy. This is more true cyber coverage that we're buying now, instead of like a rider per se. But it's a true, honest to God cyber policy.
Right.
Yeah, specific to the need.
I was going to ask, was the
coverage we had before with Highland, or is this will be our first time using them? And are they well known through the school community?
Yeah, it's Ohio School Plan is where your coverage is with, and Highland is, the administrator of that. So they cover their insurance is written for schools, and that's where we've had our plans in the past. This is a separate policy for the cyber, insurance. And I will say that most of the districts that I've talked to, they're doing the same kind of thing. We're purchasing our cyber insurance separately, but Highland is going to be the administrator. They'll help us with those kind of claims. So we go to one servicer to sort of help us with that. My goal was to try and get multiple quotes this year, but as we all know, things didn't work out. Things sort of got a little haywire there at the end of the year. So I'm hoping to do that, next year, so we can get multiple quotes to do this. But this is with the current provider, which is Ohio School Plan, as Highland is. And they've been really great to work with the last 11 months that I've been here, so.
I don't think with the new building, that's a great time to get new quotes
Yeah.
anyway. That's really a good
Right,
time.
I mean, with inflation, they've increased the cost of our buildings on all structures actually by 5%. And in addition to that, we've added 6 buses to our fleet. In 2021 and in 22, 23, we're gonna add, another 3 that are coming in August and September. So that's also a reason for a little bit of the increase, so.
I did have, thank you for walking us through that. It did make me think of something. I did want to check on a couple of things. They have the premises listed here, it's premise 1 and 2. And I'm going to assume, and the third, which the third is Palmer Field. And then 2, I'm going to guess is the new school grounds, because I wasn't sure where the metal clad barn number 1 and number 2 was, and the house office. So I didn't know if the house and the office was the old house.
Oh, the house could probably be removed from the coverage.
Yeah,
It's being covered.
I'll have to check with them, yeah.
That's a good point. The
Yeah.
house should be removed. It's no longer there.
Right.
Yeah,
We can have that removed, yep.
Good eye, Natalie.
But I'm sure the 2 metal structures.
I wondered, yeah, the 2, and that's what threw me off because it was listed as a premise 2, so.
Yeah, that's something. Let's see. Good eye.
And at least my understanding, Tina, correct me if I'm wrong, is the folks we've hired to build the building will carry insurance on the building until we accept ownership. And then we'll have to make sure our coverage is in place.
Well, we have builder's risk insurance in place for the structure as it is until we open the doors.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so we do carry insurance.
We do, yes. That was part of your project cost. So it's about $33,000 if memory serves to have the builder's risk insurance in place while they're building. So if anything happens.
Okay, so that's part of the, okay.
Yep.
So that
It's a
separate
requirement,
policy.
yeah.
Okay, okay. I figured it was in there somewhere, but I thought they covered it. I mean, we still get billed for it either way, but okay.
Right.
Yeah, that covers
Either
it.
way, we're gonna be paying for it.
So I will check on the house and office premises number
Thank you.
2. So we'll see if we can get a little bit less on that. So.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions?
No, but I would just concur with Mrs. Hageman that when we have the new building open, there'd be a great time to get quotes with Mrs. Mansfield. I think that's the time to do it. Make sure all our coverages are current and with community athletic field, what we need to do there, because we have 2 athletic fields. So.
There are no further discussion points. You ready, Ms. Hageman? Can you call the roll, and this will be voting to approve Mr. Elam's motion, Mrs. Donahue's second, pending details about the house and office.
All right. Mrs. Sebastian,
Yes.
Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Mrs. Donahue,
Yes.
Mrs. Franz,
I'm gonna have to abstain. I haven't taken the time to look and didn't realize we'd be voting on this evening.
Mrs. Mansfield,
Yes. Motion passes 4 yay, 1 abstention. Item B, School Services from Shared Resource Center. Oh yeah, I guess I can describe it and then get there. That's what I did last time. Why not? So the treasurer is requesting board action on approval of an agreement with Shared Resource Center for fiscal services from June 29th to July 31st of 2023. It's on an as-needed basis. The contract is a file attachment that you all had available to read. Is there a motion for this item?
I'll move.
Thank you, Mrs. Sebastian. Is there a second?
Excuse me, I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Donahue. Discussion.
Okay.
So we'll let Ms. Hagan describe and then discussion, if that's okay.
So Amy Mathis, the assistant treasurer / payroll person, resigned, and her last official day was July 1st. So I'm in desperate need of some assistance, and some assistance that is already trained and can come in here and pick up the payroll and move forward with it. Because this is a critical time in payroll, because we're looking at all new contracts and a lot of things that need to be paid out in July. So I'm asking the board to approve this contract with Shared Resource Center. Right now, we'll sort of be using 1 or 2 of their payroll professionals on an as-needed basis, no more than 2 days a week. And I'll do as much as I can to keep things moving, but I really need somebody that's already trained in payroll, knows how it works, and can jump in, get the lay of the land, and move forward. So, and so I'm hopeful that the board will approve this. I think it's up to $50,000. They're also willing to help me train a payroll person if the person that we find has no experience. And I think that's very, very important. So I don't think we'll get anywhere near 50,000, but that's the max on this contract.
Board members, discussion? Questions, concerns?
I'm glad you found somebody. That's excellent. I'm just happy you found someone.
Oh, Tina, I just have one question, please. Sorry, I was just looking at the extension would be after the July of 2023 date. Is that what that month-to-month means?
Yeah.
If we would have to.
Right. I
extend
don't
it.
foresee that happening, but in talking to, if we needed some additional training or anything like that, they would be able to provide that. I don't foresee that happening beyond July 2023. But I need to get somebody in here to help me with payroll. So.
Thank you.
And like you said, you don't even see it going through July because the
Right.
goal is to hire someone as soon as humanly possible, get them trained with or without shared resources help if they don't have experience
Right.
as needed, and put this all to bed and be done with it. Right? Okay. Further questions, concerns?
I mean, we have the job already posted on the consortium, and we've got a couple applicants, but nobody with any real payroll experience, but, we've got already got the feelers out there, so as quickly as we possibly can.
And it closes in a week or 10 days. Something like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
I just have one question, if you don't mind, since the other folks are listed as assistant treasurer, fiscal analyst, and consulting. Those are also additional resources that they offer in
Yes.
general?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is their standard contract. They know right now that we're desperately in need of payroll, but if we need another service later on, they're willing to help with that as well. So, I'm asking for the board's approval for the payroll portion and not to exceed 50,000. I will definitely, let the board know if for whatever reason we're getting close to that, or if my assumption at this point is incorrect. But at this point, it's payroll and shouldn't be even close to 50,000. We'll get somebody in here, get them trained as quickly as we can. Because $80 an hour is expensive, but it's more expensive not to pay our people. So I want to make sure everybody feels confident that they're going to get a payroll check and everything's going to be okay.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. I just wanted, if anyone can't see that, in case you would need to use other folks, I just want that
Oh, yeah.
to
Mhm.
be known that, they are on that contract as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Thank you, though.
Just to repeat, that was 2 days a week.
Shouldn't be any more than 2 days a week, yeah. I'll do my best.
Anything further? When you're ready, please call the vote.
Actually,
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna ask, we don't pay their, benefit portions that, along with that. is it?
No, that's why it's $80 an hour.
Okay.
That wraps
I just-
up all their
yeah.
benefits and everything like that. We're paying them directly, sort of like when you had treasurer services through shared, you weren't here, but when you had treasurer services through Shared Resource Center, you're paying the third-party vendor, they're paying their employees and doing all the reporting on that.
Thank you.
So we're just cutting them an accounts payable check.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Anything further? Okay. When you're ready, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sebastian,
Yes.
Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Mrs. Donahue,
Yes.
Mrs. Franz,
Yes.
Mrs. Mansfield.
Yes. Okay, motion passes 5-0. Thank you for those items, Mrs. Hageman. Moving on to item 6, my number. Treasurer's items. These are all just for review, not action.
Correct. These are just for review. And thank you very much for approving those 2 items. I know we don't like to have any items on the work session for approval, but these are 2 extreme situations that I think, couldn't be helped. So
Forward, right?
keep me moving forward, yes. So these are for your review, is the review of the meeting minutes for our June 3rd, June 7th. Okay,
Right.
okay, the July 5th? No, June 13th and June 22nd. I'm trying to remember all the dates we met, and I think the final one is June 27th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm still in the process of closing out the fiscal year. So hopefully I'll have everything here that as soon as I can for everybody to review for payment of bills and the monthly financial reports when we look and see how we actually did for the entire fiscal year, and how close we came to our budgets and our estimates. And so I'll have that out as soon as I can. And then review of transfers and advances. At the end of every fiscal year, you cannot have your grants in a negative balance. And we put in the budget $40,000 for advances to cover any grants that we may not have gotten the actual money in hand for. And I came awfully close, but I do need to transfer from the advance from the general fund to IDA ARP $3,135.73 and $50 from Title III to cover the balances that are there that need to be covered. And I have or will be putting in a cash request from ODE to have those reimbursed to us. So we will get that back sometime in July when they allow me to put in they close it June 17th, 15th, 14th, June 14th. They don't reopen until sometime late, mid-July. So as soon as they have it open again, we'll put in a cash request and get that money back. The transfer from Title IIA to Title IA, we're using the Title IIA money to cover the salaries for our title teachers. And that's the last of it, transferring the 1857.71 so that we can clean up what's there in a negative balance so far. So any questions?
Literally Friday would have been the first day you could have been.
Yeah, Friday would have been the first day I could
Friday
have.
was quite a busy day for you, and then
It
it was a
was.
holiday weekend,
And it was
so
crazy.
my goodness. Mrs. Hageman, please.
It was
Please.
crazy, so hopefully
Take a
I will
breath.
get it all done for you, so.
It is okay, take a breath. It is year end, you're trying to close your books, and I don't think any of us hold you do any higher esteem than the rest of us, my goodness. Okay. Okay, any questions, concerns, comments from Mrs. Hageman or treasurer's items? All those titles or any of that stuff? Okay. All right, for superintendent's items, Mr. Furt submitted his letter, much like he did last month, for the July meeting agenda items, and he sent this to me over the holiday weekend. I got an email. So, let's just roll through it. And I think they're in order, so I'll try and match them up. If I get them out of order, I apologize, because I'm just going to read from his and we'll just see it, hope it tracks. Okay. So for the certified resignations, Gabrielle Ritter, ELL teacher, says, thank you, Gabrielle, for her service to Bethel local schools. Recently hired in a district closer to home, where she will continue to work with ELL students that are fluent in Spanish. Michael Cantrell, the high school technology teacher. Mr. Cantrell informed Mr. Swope that he has accepted a position closer to home and in a district that he feels is a better fit for him. Lauren Duhan, middle school science. Thank you to Lauren for her service to Bethel local schools. She'll be working in the Bellbrook schools next year. And then Rebecca Fry, Young Fives. Thank you to Rebecca for her lengthy tenure at Bethel local schools. She has accepted a position in Troy City Schools for next year. Item B, classified resignations. Della Felton, Central Office Secretary. Thank you to Della for her 5 years service to Bethel local schools. It says she's accepted a position in the Oakwood City Schools for next year.
I didn't know
That is new to me, so congratulations to Della, and I'll miss her a lot. She did a lot for us. C, classified administrator resignation. Amy Mathis, assistant treasurer. It says refer to treasurer. When you've already told us that Mrs. Mathis' last name was Friday,
Friday, the first, yes.
she will also be missed. She had always such a welcoming personality when we would stop by the office, and I will miss her very much. D, degree status change is Karen Dirks. Congratulations to Karen for advancing on the salary schedule for her efforts in continuing her education. Karen will move from the VA plus 150 to the master's schedule. Congratulations. Review of certified employees. Andrea Bullmaster will be joining Bethel High School as a high school ELA teacher for the 2022-23 school year. Andrea is a graduate of Wright State University with a BA in English Language Arts Education and a Master of Education from Wright State in 2005. Professionally, she has taught at Greenville City Schools from 05 to 06 and Franklin Monroe District from 06 to 13. Since 2013, she has been a stay-at-home mom. Oh, lucky her. F, classified employees. Kathy, is it Rowley or Rowley? I'm sorry. Yeah, I was a Roland, so why I'm asking, I don't know.
It's Raleigh.
Oh, it's Raleigh.
See? See, this is why I asked.
That's right.
Okay. So Raleigh will be joining Bethel local schools in a number of roles for the 2022-23 year. She'll serve as a bus aide and is also being hired as a substitute bus driver, lunchroom aide, and as kitchen help as needed. Welcome to Bethel, Kathy. Heather, is it Beaton? Don't know this one. I know. I hate to get people's names wrong. I'm so sorry if I got it wrong. We'll be joining Bethel local schools as a van driver for the 2022-23 school year. Welcome to Bethel, Heather. That's all those names. I just want to make sure. And then classified contract adjustment. So Julie Gravitt has voluntarily requested to reduce her number of days in the office from 220 days to 215 days for school year 22-23. This will put her in alignment with the high school, middle school administrative assistants and will be a slight savings to the district. Item H is lunch prices review. It says refer to treasurer. Right now our K5 prices are $2.50, K 612, $2.75, and milk is 50 cents.
I think I provided the board with a summary on this about a week ago. I don't know, it might have been one of my Sunday endeavors. Working with Bonnie at the EPC and taking a look at where our pricing is and looking at a profit and loss statement and where I think we'll be at the end of next year. I don't see a need to raise prices for K through 5 or 6 through 12. So those prices will remain the same as they have been. So we're not going to be raising that. Now, I say that because we're one of the few food service programs that are still in the black. And so it will reduce the profit, but I still think there will be a profit. So I think we'll be okay. The milk prices though were completely out of whack with what we're paying, so it was 40 cents. And every other district in the area was at 55 or 65 cents. And there was one other district that was at 50 cents. So I didn't want to raise it more than 10 cents. And the cost for bread and milk, just like when we go to the grocery store, has skyrocketed due to inflation. To cover our cost, it would probably need to be more than 50 cents, but I think we can make this work, given the balance that we have in food service. So legislation has not passed to allow complete, total, free lunches for all the kids. And so we'll be back to, taking applications and doing free and reduced lunch. So I'm comfortable with this pricing.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And then for item I, supplemental positions, the following individuals will be joining Bethel as volunteer coaches for the 22-23 seasons. We have Skylar Rice for football, Rob Bondurant for football, and Tyler Brookman for boys soccer. And I believe is the conclusion of the superintendent's items. No items for discussion, is that true?
Yes.
Did you want to mention the open positions?
You have one to pull up? Yeah. That'd be great. For superintendent discussion.
Yeah, so some of these may creep into Mrs. Hageman's territory as well, but we have 4 administrative positions currently open. EMIS coordinator, central office secretary, the assistant treasurer, payroll clerk, and a business manager. We have a high school teaching position open, I believe the computer technology most likely, yes, that we just accepted the resignation.
Maybe not. We're hearing there's a chance Mr. Swope may have found someone for that position
Oh,
already, but
okay.
just in case.
Okay,
Never hurts to announce it.
for middle school, I'm not sure the status. This says ESL teacher. It says closing date 7/8. I'm not sure if that's been found or not, but I believe we also need another teacher to replace Mrs. Dugan. So that will be coming out soon, since I don't see it posted at present. And then we'll be assuming having an elementary position posted soon as well. And then kindergarten, I believe.
Yeah.
I think we're on a kindergarten position posted soon.
And then head cook is still available. Most of these positions close 7/15 if anybody's listening in and wants to apply. And then we have our transportation. We have van driver, bus driver. Now when we have a lunchroom aide, I'm not sure if that's filled. It says until filled and it's starts sometime in August. So I'm not sure if that's still out there, but check the consortium and check employment opportunities on the webpage, but they're not everything on the webpage is accurate right now. I will have to send Mr. Watson a note. But keep looking at the consortium, that will have the most current information. Thank you.
Thank you for pulling that up. I appreciate it. Okay. Any questions or anything about the superintendent items? You may not be able to answer based on the Word doc I have.
Sorry, no, you're fine, Lori. Sorry. I just thought she was moving on. But I wanted to catch you before that. For the athletic director's admin,
Yeah,
you said she reduced her days to be more in line with the middle, how did you word
the
that?
high school and middle school administrative assistants are all also on 215 days.
Okay,
So
and
it
did,
lines up with that.
okay. And then will her salary be adjusted accordingly
Yeah,
then?
she'll just get paid for 215 instead of 220 days.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
I just didn't quite hear everything you had mentioned there.
Sorry about that.
And then also, the other thing that I did want to ask is, did you say Amanda Bullmaster is a new hire?
Andrew Bullmaster is a new hire, yes.
And can I ask,
Yeah.
did Mr. Brooks send any emails to those? Because I don't remember seeing that usually.
I don't know if they did since he's been on vacation. I don't know that he did. No.
Okay.
I will say that I did ask Mr. Swope about the position that Ms. Bullmaster is taking is for an AP English teaching position. And she will be AP certified by the time school starts in the fall. So, which is awesome. We love that. I won't interrupt the AP programs that we have going on, which is great.
Because
It is a new one.
it was a name I wasn't familiar with, but the way it was worded, I really wasn't sure, honestly.
No, sure, for sure.
And
Yeah.
I
She's
wanted to make
taking over
sure I was.
for Mrs. Owens, right?
Well, we had someone come in for a year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go. Thank you.
Yes.
It's hard to keep straight sometimes.
But yeah, it was essentially a Stone's, and that person decided, I believe, to get her doctorate.
She's going to
so-
Ohio State.
Yeah,
Good for
yeah,
her.
which is great. So, yeah. Okay.
So, so you guys all seem to know about it. Is there any info
No.
to share? I
I
mean,
only know because it's been on the agenda.
I was gonna ask the same
Truly.
question myself, whether or not she asked for it or whether it was dictated, but it already got answered.
I'll just put it on the agenda, that's all I know.
yeah.
No.
No, there was no email from Mr. Burks about it to any of us at all. It just was on the agenda and I was like, oh, English. I knew we were replacing English, but I knew someone had left. I know what you do.
I was just gonna ask, was there, did the normal, vetting process with the other, members of that function?
Ms. Burr, were you on the
area?
committee?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Thank you.
We interviewed six. Six.
Excellent.
Six.
Say
Because the
it
one
one more
called that
time,
morning
six.
and said they couldn't, so six, yeah.
Thank you.
Sounds like a nice broad field.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I love that. I love that, you know, she has her master's, and I think that's great, sounds highly qualified. Fantastic. Any other questions that we can try and piece together?
You said she'll be AP certified. I didn't think to ask, will they also offer the dual enrollment or just, okay, so she's got, excellent. Thank you for, I just was I'll have a child that age, so I was curious. Thank you.
No worries. We're all putting it together as we go.
That's awesome. That's great that you found the candidate, both of those credentials or getting those credentials. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we were very excited.
I know that's probably not the easiest thing to find, but. Okay.
Okay. If there's nothing further, we'll move on to BOE discussion and action items. So item A is for the propane tank, $118,000 for an 18,000 gallon used tank. Up there, it's for Heritage Cooperative. So a couple items that I know stuck out to a number of us, because some folks have asked for clarification. As you scroll down through this contract, you'll see a couple of things. First is that the quote was good for 15 days. So I've spoken with Mr. Bird. Mr. Bird said that he contacted Heritage, and Heritage said they will hold the quote until tomorrow for us. No worries there. They still have the tank. Perfectly good, still available through Wednesday. So whatever happens tonight, he'll be able to let them know tomorrow. Next thing, as you scroll down, additionally, there was the option to buy a direct fired vaporizer capable of blah, 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 for an extra $8,450. Mr. Bird said that we should not need that at this time. The size of this tank is capable that over time, if and when we decide to build a second building north of this current building, this tank would be large enough to serve both the elementary and any such building that would be located nearby. This tank is large enough that it will be serviced by a semi delivering the propane, which will let the savings on the amount of propane you're bringing in, you'll get a cost savings on your per gallon or whatever price on your propane, because of the size that you're bringing in each time that your delivery comes in, you get a cost savings on your propane. Said that you wouldn't need this extra 8450 part unless at the time, maybe when you add it to a second building, at that time might be a good time to add that part. So for now, we do not need the extra option part. So the cost savings you get on your propane price by having this larger tank, and the fact that we'll be able to use it if and when we expand our facilities and add another building, is kind of the idea behind getting such a large tank at this time. That's what Mr. Bird told me.
And my understanding is this tank is similar size to the one that's behind the elementary school backed by the buses, so it's not out of character for what we already have. The other option is to do a bunch of smaller tanks, which I'm sure is more expensive, so, I didn't ask for a quote, but I'm sure it's not cheaper than we did. Plus, like she said, filling it, then you have one drop.
So that's literally all I heard from Mr. Bird, and this because it's actually the only questions I asked him. So,
And go ahead.
We don't rent a tank, because even in residential tanks. We own our tank at our house. It's buried. All the ones that are above ground normally are not. They're actually rented, and when you pre-buy, your price is much better when you own your tank. Rather than, it's way better than if you're putting it in a rented tank.
Thank you for that, Mr. Young. I had heard that, but I never had it really confirmed. I had like a face-to-face conversation with someone, but I heard that somewhere along. I just don't remember where.
I did want to ask Tina that, I think we've talked about this before, but there was money, this amount you had on the.
This will be part of the new budget for this coming school year. So yeah, it'll come out of your permanent improvement funds. So yeah.
Thank you. And then a follow-up from our K-5 meetings. I know Lori had asked, how could we, I don't see it in here, but I know you might have got a separate answer. I just wanted to ask. You had mentioned, and it was a good question, or you had asked, how were we sure that this tank was going to be, worthy of the money? Because we'd hate to get into a situation, and I know Jason from Peterson had mentioned he wasn't sure if they leak tested it, and I didn't know if anybody got any information back on that, because I don't necessarily see it here.
Well, I'm sure if it wasn't working, they would have to, I mean, I would imagine it would have to be corrected. So
I didn't know if you heard that.
I
I
did
know
not
it
go
was
back on that.
discussed. I didn't know if there was anything further, because we haven't had our meetings in the last couple of weeks, so.
I think the issue is buying a new one would be 2 or 3 times the cost. So whatever happens, hopefully it would be able to be repaired.
And it does sound like Mr. Bird has a good relationship with the gentleman at this company, so I would think that would, we probably would have worked all that out. I would imagine Mr. Bird's pretty knowledgeable on these sort of things. I would think he would ask those questions and handle
Any
that.
leaks of it?
Well,
No,
for sure.
no, well,
Absolutely.
they wouldn't sell it. Or
Right.
shouldn't,
I
especially.
wouldn't think so.
Right. And we need to adjust the price.
Yeah, I just saw it, 118,
118,
750.
750 didn't get adjusted. Yeah. Did you say we should approve that tonight because the quote's good through tomorrow? Was that what you said?
I just noticed it wasn't up for a vote.
It's not.
It's-
So did you want to?
Discussion / action item, so.
Mhm.
It wasn't for a vote yet until just this minute, actually. So we probably should do something. So can I make a motion to make this a vote item?
Yeah, and it needs to be for 118, 750, just so everybody's aware.
Yes.
So make sure we have the right amount.
Okay, so I move to call a vote on this propane tank. Item, discussion / action item A.
I'll second.
Quote expiring tomorrow.
Monday.
And honestly, when we had our meetings, Peterson and Garner Miller were very anxious for us to get something because they need the ability to use the propane for things they're doing in the building. So especially with shortages and things, I don't know what the lead time on a new one would be or a different alternative, but they felt we should move on this. So I just wanted to let everyone in the room know that.
Well, we're gonna have to have a tank of some kind, right?
No need heat this winter. Maybe by November.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would suggest October delivery. I think they wanted it in place in October. It says delivery October,
I was
November
gonna say,
2022.
that's what it says, right?
Yeah, but
Thought I read that.
Yeah.
Am I making that up in my brain? No, it's right there. Okay. Sometimes you read so many contracts, you're like, okay, so,
And it wasn't just the tank. It was all the other stuff that was listed there, concrete for the concrete base, and the steel reinforced, and so on and so forth. So it's just not just the tank.
yeah,
It's
to
all
install the
together.
stage capable
Right.
and transport and correct. And emergency shop valves and et cetera, correct. Absolutely. Okay, so. Any further discussion, other questions, concerns? Sounds like we're ready to vote. Everybody can see.
Mrs. Mansfield,
Yes.
Mrs. Sebastian,
Yes.
Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Mrs. Donahue,
Yes.
Mrs. France.
Yes. Passes 5-0. Mr. Birds.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for cooperation on that. Sorry to not have that on the agenda appropriately. Apologize. I didn't catch that. 10B, custodial closet bathroom conversion middle school. Okay, so the board can see that there are a number of quotes that are attached here for the conversion of, this is the custodial closet in the, what we've always called the north hallway of the middle school, right? To take a custodial closet and convert it to a single use or unisex bathroom, whatever terminology you choose. And it would have still some space for a little bit of storage for toilet paper, cleaning supplies, things like that. Several quotes are attached. You can see they range for, some are for just plumbing, some are for the actual contracting work. And then there's one at the end that is for everything all together. It does both scopes of work. So altogether, you have 3 quotes for the plumbing and 3 quotes for the actual building out. Yeah. So we meet our criteria for the RFPs and things like that that we do. Mr. Bird's recommendation is to proceed with the $10,435 plumbing quote and the $8,200 construction quote for a total of $18,635, if that is in fact the direction that we're going. So $18,635 altogether. Now, while those may not necessarily be in their individual capacities the cheapest, they are the ones he recommends, mostly due to time. There was one that was a little bit cheaper, but they weren't going to be able to start until maybe August 1st. And with the timeline of starting school and making sure everything's here on time and getting things done, he was very concerned that if we just waited that late to get started, that we would not be able to finish the job before school starts. Which is obviously a great disruption to the school day, to the students and staff. So that's why he chose the ones that he did. And it's not that big of a difference in cost between, I think it was $7,700 maybe between the next one, the least expensive, and the $8,200 one, I think $500 difference or so. So his recommendation is to go with a grand total of $18,635 to make that closet conversion. So, discussion, comments,
Mrs.
concerns?
Hageman, does the language still say it's the lowest and or best bid?
Yes.
I was surprised when I saw the door open today in that closet and how big it is. It's way bigger than what I've never seen inside. It's pretty
Fairly
wide.
spacious.
It is.
So I'm clear on this closet bathroom conversion. This is the one we originally had supplies donated by a community member. But we no longer have those as we're taken back by the donor, right?
That's my understanding. I wasn't really party to any of that. That's my understanding. That's what I've heard from the grapevine.
I mean, pretty much, I imagine Mr. Bird can get the materials for minimal cost. They probably don't even need 3 quotes. They were talking with, let's see, maybe a rail. So we're not talking a lot of materials. He was concerned if we don't do this part, it's not gonna get done. He's probably correct, because it's realistically probably won't get started until mid-July or early August. And school starts mid-August 24th.
I mean, he did say this could wait until Monday, of course, for the vote. But yes,
My suggestion is we approve it, if at least put it up for vote, see where it goes. If we're gonna do it, great. If not, we'll go by the wayside of the elementary bathroom partitions. Because I mean, I think if we're gonna do it, we need to approve it soon. That's my gut.
I'd like to wait till Monday, so I see what time we go over things.
I'm ready to vote.
I don't know, 3 days, let's see. Okay, 6 days. Since it wasn't on the, we didn't intend to vote today. It is up for public discussion today. I don't know, he brought it forward just for discussion. And it might be good to follow the facilities meeting on Monday.
We're just discussing it now. I don't know that anyone's put a motion for us to vote on anything at the moment, so. Just discussing. If there's any questions we have to take to Mr. Byrd, or if anybody has a question about these quotes that are attached right now, feel free to ask them. That's what the point of today's meeting is. Talk about it.
I'll move to proceed with a custodial closet bathroom conversion that Mr. Byrd has recommended for $18,635.
Sebastian makes a motion to call the vote. Is that what you're doing?
I just made a motion and he seconded.
I'm just, I remember your motion, I'm moving for the vote on the item.
Yes, to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Neal seconds.
Okay, Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Mrs. Donahue,
Oh, abstain.
Mrs. Sebastian,
Yes,
Mrs. Franz,
I requested more time to look over this and I was denied that, so I'm going to vote no because I have not had a time to look thoroughly over the quotes and I would like more time. So my vote has to be no.
Mrs. Mansfield.
Yes. Motion passes with 3 yes, 1 no, and 1 abstention. So Mr. Byrd has quotes and get back with those vendors. All right, next item, if there's nothing further there, is possible need for executive session. Does anyone have a need for executive session under any of the 6, 7 possible items?
Yes, under number 1.
Under item 1 for what specific number 1 item?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. I guess I need to consider appointment, employment dismissal, the first part. Dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion or compensation of a public employee or official.
Yeah, but we need to name which of those specific items by law we are doing. Employment, compensation, dismissal, promotion.
It's going to be discussion over resignation. Employee resignation.
Appointment.
called employee and dismissal. That way you're covered employment and dismissal. Those would be the two.
I think so. Okay, so motion to go into executive session for employment and dismissal of a public official. Any other reasons for executive session? Motion is made by Mrs. Franz. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I mean, I assume that was a motion. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, and Mrs. Donahue has made a second. Okay. Ellen, you're
I'm
in?
sorry, you said Mrs. Donahue.
I did.
My apologies. Okay, Mrs. Mansfield,
Yes.
Mrs. Sebastian,
Yes.
Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Mrs. Donahue,
Yes.
Mrs. Franz.
Yes.
Okay, time into executive session is 6:25 PM. Anyone expect action to be taken at the closure of that?
No.
No action to be taken.
Did you want that Mr. Christman to the executive session, Mrs. Rams?
I have no problem with that.
Okay, Mr. Crispin, you're invited into executive session with me, please. Please join the board.
It should not be long. Even better, we'll be home by.
I shouldn't say that. Don't worry.
Do not jinx us like that. Thank you all for your time and attention. Tracy, thank you. It's good to see you. I don't
Hey,
get to see you
thanks,
over summer
Tracy,
much.
about being understanding about the other issue. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
See you Monday.
Bye. Things should be okay.
What's on your shirt? Lighthouse or golfers?
I'm not sure.
Oh, it says sailboat. Okay, surfer and sailboat. I wasn't sure. I was like, are these people or like, I thought it was the sail was a lighthouse. That's why I was like.
It's not a shirt, it's not a statement shirt or anything. It was a great prize.